Special focus on Karnataka's welfare schemes and the state of finances in the state. Since the Lok Sabha election results, the opposition BJP-JDS in the state has taken on sharply the government over fuel price hike and has accused it of financial mismanagement. There have been questions and concerns raised since the beginning over whether the welfare schemes in the state that cost over 50,000 crores have squeezed the state of funds for other infrastructure and development projects. Joining us now is Karnataka's Revenue Minister, Krishna Byre Gowda, who's considered astute with his understanding of both numbers as well as the state's political realities. Thanks very much, Krishna Byre Gowda, for speaking with us. Question, as I just mentioned, have been raised about whether the enormous expenditure on welfare guarantees is sustainable financially in the long or even medium run. Having implemented it for a year now, is it sustainable at the same scale for an extended period of time? That's my first question to you.
Veer, I will answer your question on several levels. First is Karnataka's investment levels, which are a sign of a balance between welfare and investment expenditure. If you look at Karnataka's investment levels, they are on par with most other states. So there is a sound balance between investment expenditure and welfare expenditure in Karnataka's overall budget. So we are maintaining a sound fiscal balance. Second, in terms of the three FRBM requirements, that is the fiscal responsibility and budget management requirements as mandated by law, Karnataka, out of three, we satisfy through two counts, which cannot be said about a few other states, and it's a matter of another year or two by when we will satisfy all the three requirements for fiscal responsibility. Number three, I can turn around and ask the same question. When you pass on corporate income tax reduction to the top rich people in the country, is it fiscally sound? Is it fiscally responsible? Why doesn't this question get asked when a corporate income tax cut is passed on to the super rich in the country? Why does this question get asked only when you try to reach out to the bottom level of this society? Veer, you must understand that, first of all, we don't have a perfect open market economy in our country. We are somewhere in the vicinity of crony capitalism in this country. And from that it follows that the trickle-down economics is only in theory in India. It's only in the paper in India. Trickle-down is not working. As we speak, the gap between the rich and poor is expanding in our country at an alarming pace. The benefits of growth are concentrating in the hands of the rich. So economically it is sound that the working class, the poor are made part of an inclusive growth of the country. Otherwise they will be left out and it will be to the detriment of our economy itself. So on all parameters, this is a balanced view.
Krishna, it's an important point. It's an important point that you make emphatically, but even as you argue that, the opposition in the state is equally emphatic in questioning the fuel price hike and hiking potentially of taxes and tariff. The state government's decision to hire Boston Consulting Group to consult on ways to boost revenue has also been questioned. Are there serious worries about revenue? Has it flattened out even as expenditure is increasing?
It's the responsibility of every sensible, reasonable, responsible government to enhance its revenue. That's what every government worth its salt does around the world. You want us to sit here and just not do anything about enhancing our revenue so that we can take up more investment, more welfare, and so that the economy expands. Karnataka has a healthy share of tax to GDP ratio. You speak about fuel prices. Let me just bring it to your notice that even after an increase of 3 rupees, Karnataka is, in terms of petrol and diesel prices, is far cheaper than our neighboring states, and Karnataka even today remains one of the cheapest in the country when it comes to petrol and diesel prices. So we are far below other states. Let me remind you, we are below by as much as 5 to 7 rupees when compared to some other states. So we are very reasonable on that. And now you raise another issue of hiring a private firm to look at our expenditure, our revenue, boosting and revenues, suggest ways for improvement. Now, in the era of, we get often slack for not using a lot of human resource capacity available in our country. Lot of our consulting companies are doing consulting for various organizations and governments around the world. And when they can go and consult for somebody else in somewhere else in the world, why can't we use their expertise? And to just add to the point, I think the same BCG, if I am not mistaken or if I am not wrong, has been hired by Government of India for 15 times the price that we are paying them to consult and advise Government of India. I believe the Government of Uttar Pradesh has hired another similar consulting group to advise them on various other matters. I don't want to name companies, but I can name if you want. So when they hire these organizations and consultants, it doesn't get questioned. When a Congress government, a Karnataka government hires some consulting firm to advise on ways to improve governance, suddenly this becomes the talking point in the country. I don't understand this lopsided debate we are having.
Okay, let me keep that aside and let me ask you this directly. Is there a rethink or reassessment of the welfare guarantees in the state after the Lok Sabha election results?
Yeah. To give you a quick answer, at the moment we are not reconsidering any of those issues, but in course of time, nothing in government is cast in stone. From time to time we may do, but at the moment, time to time, I'm not saying from time to time we will reconsider guarantees, but in government from time to time decisions are made over a course of time. But on the issue of guarantees in the cabinet, we have not discussed any reconsideration.
Okay. Politically, what impact do you see the Lok Sabha verdict have on center-state relations? Because that's been a major concern. You now have H.D. Kumaraswamy, who's considered to have a personal rivalry with the top Congress leadership, including the Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister in the state, as a cabinet minister at the center. There's a worry that antagonism between the state and the center may only increase.
Look, I'm not really looking forward to any intensification of so-called center-state rivalry. That is not our idea. We, people of Karnataka, our government represents the people of India. We are a strong part of this union. We are an equal part of this union of India. And but nevertheless, we do have issues related to devolution of finances. In the 15th Finance Commission recommendations, the state of Karnataka lost 23% in the devolution. We suffered a cut of 23%. That is a draconian cut in the share of our share of devolution. We also have issues with cesses and surcharges being levied by Government of India. In fact, our government, in the recent budget consultations held by Honorable Union Finance Minister, we have officially requested Government of India to subsume all cesses and surcharges into the divisible pool so that we, the states, all the states, get their fair share in the gross tax revenue of central government as recommended by various finance commissions. So otherwise, because of the cesses and surcharges and their increase over the years, state like Karnataka is losing out its rightful share. in the devolution, and the center is keeping that money to itself. So we do have issues on Finance Commission, on cesses and surcharges. We do have issues with the center on holding up our river projects. So we will continue to press our rightful demands with the center, rightful demands of the people of Karnataka and its interests. But that doesn't mean that there is a center-state rivalry. We all have to work together. Work together doesn't mean that we surrender and we surrender our interests. We will continue to press for our interests, and I hope that the elected representatives from Karnataka who are part of the union government will also take up the rightful demands of Karnataka and make sure that justice is done to Karnataka.
Well, thanks very much there. You're making very important points there, Krishna Byre Gowda, but thanks very much for taking time out to speak to us. Obviously, the confrontation in the state and the national level continuing to play out on several dimensions.